be running with Will. We work very well together. We like and respect each other. We have the same core values, and it's those values, I think, that are compelling and that will tell the story over the next couple of weeks of the campaign, why we have the right work. And it's the important work. It's Newtown's agenda. It's not a Republican agenda. It's about what is right and best for our town. We know that we understand and love this town, and we'll work very hard to achieve all of those things that will benefit our town and make it more poised for success as we go into our future. We also have the right team. So we're doing the right work. We have the right team of workers involved with us. It's not just Will and I. It's another group of 30 people behind us who are also running for elected office or serving already that are part of this right work, right team agenda. You'll hear a lot as we go through the next couple of weeks about what we say those values are. And we live those values, we're led by those values, we're proud of those values. And we're happy to say that those values that Will and I articulated about 3 or 4 months ago have since been adopted by the Republican Party, the local party, as their values. So we're very proud of that. And we think what we do makes a difference. And we know that the right leadership is critical for our town. We're at a crossroads. And what we do in the next couple of weeks will define who we are for the next couple of decades. It matters. Character matters, leadership matters, care and concern matters, and we bring that to you. So, well, I don't wait to wrap the whole stage.
No. We're looking forward to this campaign. Pat and I so much enjoyed campaigning the last time that we actually wanted to do it as sort of a status check at the pulse of Newtown midterm. However, that was viewed as tantamount to campaigning, and we didn't want to run afoul of election laws, so now we're finally authorized to do it. It'll be a bit of a compressed campaign season, but that'll just make it all the more important for everybody, the entire Republican team, to hit the streets, get the word out there. And I have to say, sitting with Pat the past week that we'd like to forget, she's right. Leadership matters. I saw this woman with the power company. I think the lights would still be out if she wasn't as effective as she was. There's a whole lot of things that go on behind the scenes, the day-to-day administrative stuff, that people just have no clue what a good job Pat's doing on that. And it's our job to give them that clue over the coming couple months. So let's get out there and do that.
Thank you all very much.
Outside of a polling place in Fairfield. So we had a little bit of a Republican primary going on, not the friendliest of primaries for our first selectmen's race in that year. And in fact, the firefighters in town were on one side. I might have been on the other side. And we were outside of the polling place, huddled around a car with the radio on, as we were listening to what was happening. You know, the first reports were a small plane that hit the World Trade Center. And then when it became apparent what had happened, obviously it was remarkable to the Fairfield firefighters, and all firefighters went to, Engine 1, our main house, and many of them, hello there, hey, you're off the bike. Was that you I was waiting to earlier? It was, awesome. And they got on trains and went down to New York City and pitched in, as so many others did. But what was remarkable as this horrible tragedy was unfolding, people were still coming to vote in the primary. We had thought, should we cancel the primary? Is nobody going to show up and vote? But, primaries don't have large turnouts generally. But actually more people started coming out because they said, we're not going to let them beat us. And here we were exercising one of our most fundamental rights as Americans and showing that our democracy can work, and that no matter what the terrorists were going to do, that they weren't going to let us think it's, in a way, not only okay but appropriate that we open a Republican headquarters on 9/11, because this is what makes our country great. We're free. We get to say what we want to say. We get to do what we want to do. We get to vote for people to represent us, and that is a model and a message for the world. So I'm happy to be here. And my last comment, not about 9/11, but in a world in Washington and more in Hartford now than I've seen over 13 years, where if one side says, yes, the other side says no, it's almost just a reaction that we have to be against what the other side's for, or we have to be for what the other side's against. It's kind of heartwarming to see an elected leader really represent what's best about government, not look at this side or that side, this party or that party, and just lead and just govern. And that's what Pat Hogan's been. So I look forward to another many years of service for you, Pat, and I look forward to working for you in Hartford. Thanks a lot.
I must look like a biker because I was so thirsty. I ran into the mini mart to get a chocolate milk, and the woman said to me, did you see all of the bikes? And then she looked at me and she goes, you were on a bike. So I must have that look today anyway. I just got done the Connecticut United ride with Paul, and largest ride in the history of the ride, more than 3,000 motorcycles. Newtown came out with all its glory, and I was very proud of my little Botsworth. Fire department, they came out with their uniforms on and they looked really squared away down there. So it was a great ride. And I think, we had talked a little bit about, opening campaign headquarters on 9/11. I had, some qualms about that because I was trying to be in 12 places at one time too. But I do believe it is really appropriate because we do epitomize exactly what the terrorists tried to prevent from moving forward, and that is our freedom and our ability to take our own destinies into our own hands and to do what's best for everyone and to live in a country where neighbor truly does care about neighbor. And we saw that. It's been a rough 2 weeks, hasn't it, John? And Pat. It's been a rough 2 weeks, but the sun was out today, and I think that was indicative of where this party's going, because we do have the right message, and we do represent, I think, all things good in our world. So, thank you for having me. I'm sorry but I couldn't get here any quicker.